I love the Fire Emblem series. I've played all the games except Radiant Dawn, but I've loved every single one start to finish. I've always looked at the Warriors series and it looked fun. I played Hyrule Warriors Legends on the 3DS and I did enjoy it, but I didn't get as much time out of it as I wanted to. I collect Fire Emblem, and in 2017, when they announced Fire Emblem Warriors, I was excited. It came out, I bought the amiibo in both versions. I'm probably one of the only people who bought the 3DS version, but all the footage is coming from the Switch version. Let's talk about it. Fire Emblem Warriors is a standard Warriors game when it comes down to it. You fight hundreds of enemies trying to complete objectives and get to the boss at the end. Objectives come down to these forts which you can capture to complete them. There are outposts which are like smaller forts. Enemies can attack forts and you don't want to lose them. There are main missions and side missions. Main missions is what you're supposed to do to progress, while side missions do what you can get separate rewards. You can get Anna's mementos, which are pieces of a picture, or a master seal, which you can use to rank up. They're usually locked behind like capturing a certain number of forts in a certain amount of time, or defeating a certain number of enemies. Pausing the game, you can decide what units go where and while you control one. That is all you really need to do in a battle. It gives you strategy on where to put your units. You have a lot of time. Your limit is 60 minutes, but most matches will take 30 at most. The game is laid out in chapters. You can choose difficulty and that affects how much money you get. You can choose a character and weapon before the match starts. Just like Fire Emblem, you can only use a certain type of weapon if you're a high enough rank. There's a skill tree. Unlock abilities by getting resources from the map or unlocking support conversations. As well, you can forge weapon to buff their stats and merge their abilities. You can sell weapons too for more cash, but cash was never an issue. You can also use cash to level up your units. Before you go into a match, you get some story through voice scenes. They're very well done. The story is okay though. The main new characters, Rowan and Liana, are in a sparring match when the portal from another dimension opens. Characters from Fire Emblem Awakening and Fates are the first ones that come through the portals as well as enemies. The Shield of Flames have been taken and you try to get it back. It's kinda hard to explain and you really need to see it play out to understand. It's a fine story, but nothing amazing. Also, spoilers, the final boss is a dragon. Big surprise there. Characters are limited to the first Fire Emblem on the Famicom and Awakening and Fates, with a few others here like Lyn and Celica. It's a bit of a dumb restriction. I understand it makes sense because most people are familiar with these characters, but for longtime fans, it kinda sucks. The movesets are pretty cool sometimes. A lot of sword characters kinda feel the same, but that's to be expected. Like, how many different ways can you swing a sword? Characters like Robin and Corrin are really unique. Robin uses his tones, and Corrin changes into a dragon to do a few of their attacks. There are even some horses like Frederick and healers like Lisa. Every character plays differently, but a lot of the sword characters overlap in some ways. When fighting an enemy, after they do a big attack, they have a gauge above them. Break the gauge and you do a powerful attack dealing a lot of damage. There are yellow and blue potions around the map. You can fill up a special gauge to do a powerful attack that can kill multiple enemies. You can get a lot of enemies this way. Blue gauge is the awakening gauge, which buffs your attack until the meter runs out and you'll do one final attack. If I remember correctly, they have other attacks like this in other Warriors games. After all these things in a battle, it's really fun. A lot can be going on at once and can kind of be overwhelming, but having many things to do means you're always on your toes trying to complete something. But in a way, that makes it fun. Missions can be as short as 5 minutes or as long as 40 minutes. If you want to complete the game, it'll probably take 15 hours, but if you want to do everything, it will take well over 200 hours. Outside of the story, there's History Mode, which is really cool to Fire Emblem fans. It shows a bunch of enemies on a map like regular Fire Emblem games. You attack an enemy by going into battle to complete a mission. It's like standard Fire Emblem, but every separate enemy is a challenge. The maps are based off maps from important places from the games, like the beginning of the Awakening or the end of Gaiden. It's a really fun mode, but my main problem is the battles, you have to be at high level, so you can't play most of them till the end of the game. There are many Master Seals and Anna's Mementos to fill out pictures. After you beat the main game, you'll spend 90% of your time here. I barely played all it has to offer, and I'm still having fun. Some people say it's more grindy, but it's fun, since you're working towards something. All these modes can be played with 2 players as well. It's so fun to have a friend join you killing thousands of enemies. In the gallery, you can choose to view cutscenes, listen to music, or view completed pictures. You can also scan Fire Emblem amiibo to get weapons. I've only been shown the Switch version of this. The 3DS does have a version of it. It only works on the new 3DS since the old one isn't powerful enough. I think it runs pretty well considering it's on the 3DS. You aren't missing any features, it's more watered down version, but not by too much. Only in terms of load times and graphics. This version of the game goes on sale a lot, so if you're on a budget, it'll give you a load of content for the price. Both versions of the games have DLC. They're 3 packs, but you can buy them individually or together. It gives you more characters and history mode maps, which there isn't any short of in the game. But if you want more, this will give you at least another 50 hours. I think it's only worth it if you're a die-hard Warriors fan. This game comes with a special edition for the Switch version. I got it and it's really cool. It comes with all these character cards and a 3-disc CD soundtrack, which is amazing. I love special editions like these. You can find them on sale a lot, which is really cool. I recommend it if you collect or like Fire Emblem. In the end, Fire Emblem Warriors is a great game for any Warriors fan. It gives you a touch of Fire Emblem strategy, and it's a good game just to shut your brain off and defeat hundreds of enemies, but you still have to remain a little aware. My problem with Warriors games, which is other people's problem too, is that once you play a Warriors game, you've pretty much played all of them. If you've already played a Warriors game and aren't dying to play a new one, it's probably not worth it. But for a Fire Emblem fan who hasn't played it, yeah, it's worth it. It gives enough fan service and the gameplay is solid. I wish this game got more recognition. It's really fun. Maybe one day I'll finish all the content it has. Probably not, but I can hope. Hey, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll be streaming at Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern. I did a poll on Twitter and decided to switch my stream days to Sunday, but I'll still upload on Saturday. Writing this script a couple of days before the Mario Odyssey video goes up. We're almost at 100 subscribers, which is amazing. I'll be doing a stream to celebrate it once we hit it. Thanks all for your support, and see you next week. Twitter and Discord in the description.